As Jonathan Breeze opened his eyes, he noticed that his head hurt a lot. He also found that the blindingly white room that he stood in simply reminded him of that painful fact. Craning his neck down, he suddenly became very aware that he had somehow gotten into a depressingly black suit. Turning around to inspect the foreign side of the room behind him, his eyes were suddenly met with the door. Jonathan stood in awe of this woman. His body seemed to melt with each one of her motions. In that instant, he noticed that all the pain that he had felt earlier vanished. He opened his mouth to call out to her.
Lord Jesus, are you going to keep staring at me, or are you going to let me do my job? Because I sure as hell can find a better use for my time than babysitting someone like you.
Jonathan's headache came roaring back.
Excuse me, where am I?
Well, if you ever stop moving faster than a snail caught in hot molasses, then I might be able to tell you. But I think you better sit down first, don't you think?
Jonathan suddenly was swept with a heavy floral scent.
Oh, it's lavender, just in case you were wondering.
Jonathan thought for a moment if she knew what he was thinking. He waited for a verbal reply, but got nothing.
All right, I'm sitting. Now what?
Well, hon, you're dead.
Jonathan thought that this might have been the case. However, like any human who still wanted to remain alive, he refused to believe it.
Don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm still alive.
Sugar, you are about as dead as they come.
Oh, really? And how dead is that?
You have passed on. You are no more. You have ceased to be. You have expired and gone to meet your maker. You are stiff, barefoot of life. You rest in peace. If you hadn't gotten cremated, you'd be pushing up the daisies. You are off the twig. You've kicked the bucket, run down the curtain, and joined the bleeding choir invisible. You are an ex-human. You are about that dead. Now, I went and forgot your folder. I'll be right back.
He tried to think back to the last thing that he remembered.
I had decided to take a drive that morning. I'm not really sure why either. Maybe it had something to do with Margaret being mad at me again. I mean, after being married for 14 years, our fights just turned into us not speaking to each other for days at a time. I normally enjoyed the fall season. However, this year the leaves were a dark maroon that remained somewhat alive, compared to the wonderful, crisp, golden leaves that I have come to rely on. Everything the sun touched shone with a golden brilliance that couldn't be described. All I wanted was for the leaves to be their usual golden color. That way I had something that made me happy.
There. Now to see how much horse sense you actually have in you.
How much? What?
Horse sense, sugar. We are going to see if you're as stupid as you look.
What's that?
Oh, this is nothing. Just your entire life summed up in about 4 pages.
My whole life? Really?
Yep, and it's all here in only 4 pages. Lordy, sugar, you sure didn't do much with yourself, did you?
Oh, ha. And you wouldn't mind if I see it?
By all means, I got all I need from it.
As she tossed the folder over to Jonathan, he began to open it. It had all kinds of information about him, from basic things like his current height and weight to personal information, like who had taken his first kiss or when he had met his wife.
You don't need to read all of it, seeing how you lived through most of it. But I would recommend you reading the ending.
Time of death, 11:58 a.m. Place of death, Idaho, 525 South Center Street, Rexburg. Cause of death, dramatic head trauma caused in a car crash. It went on to give a quick overview of the actual death. According to the document, he had been speeding down a residential area, then didn't make the turn in time, crashing head-on into a large oak tree.
That's it? That's how I die?
What? Were you expecting some kind of glorious way to go? Hun, most people can't afford such luxurious deaths. Though I would imagine that your head is still hurting pretty bad from a crash like that.
He became reminded as to how much his head really did hurt.
Now what? I mean, what am I supposed to do now?
Good Lord, that's all you humans seem to want to know when you pass through my office.
Wait, you aren't human?
Do I look human?
He looked at her for a moment. She seemed human enough.
Is this a trick question?
Oh, don't flatter me, sugar. However, we do have some business we need to tend to. They don't want to be kept waiting all day. We need to figure out where you're going to end up.
Wait, where could I end up?
Hun, don't worry about that. I just write down what I think of you on this pretty pink piece of paper, and you get sent off according.
Jonathan's heart fell into his stomach. The very thought that this insane woman held the key to his entire afterlife made him cringe.
What? Don't you trust me?
Jonathan said nothing.
Don't worry about that. It's not really up to me. If you made it this far, they know where you're going. Question is, do you? 'Cause I can't let you off till you do.
How would I know?
Here, this is all you need.
I think I took that drive to go see the other trees. I am not sure if I saw the tree or not. I'm not sure if I had the time to hit the brakes, or if I just didn't want to. All I know is that with each thought of my wife, my foot got heavier on the pedal. With each moment of silence between us, my hands tightened up, and with each red leaf that should have been golden, I closed my eyes a little bit tighter.
There we go, sugar. I'm gonna need you to stand up and follow me.
Lavender.
Lavender. I'm gonna need you to open the door now.
I woke up with my body lying on the side of the road. The headlights of my destroyed car reflected the broken pieces of glass surrounding me. A single golden leaf laid in the palm of my hand. I looked at it. It seemed radiant compared to the wreckage around it. With what little strength that I had left in my arm, I crushed it. It made a satisfying sound.